After a long day at the clinic, I came home exhausted, craving quiet, maybe a hug from my husband. But when I opened the door, I froze. My heart shattered. I collapsed from what I saw. Have you ever had your entire world collapse in a single text message? After 3 grueling tours defending my country, I finally came home, only to be hit with a message from my wife that felt like a knife straight to the gut. Don't bother coming. The locks are changed. The kids don't want you. It's over. My response? Just 2 words. And those 2 words unleashed a firestorm she never, ever saw coming. I stepped off that military transport into the oppressive Georgia heat, and it felt like walking into a furnace. After 4 years, in some of the most hostile places on Earth, I was finally on home soil. My duffel bag felt weightless compared to the things I'd seen. I pulled out my phone, expecting a message from Melanie, my wife of 12 years. I was picturing a simple, on my way. Instead, I read that text, and my stomach just dropped. Don't bother coming. The locks are changed. The kids don't want you. It's over. I just stood there, frozen, as other soldiers streamed past me, running into the arms of their families. The words burned into my screen. Our last video call, 3 weeks ago, it had been tense, sure, but this? 1,000 angry replies flashed through my mind. But I didn't send any of them. Instead, my thumbs typed out just 2 words, as you wish. Anyone who served with me would know the quiet danger in that phrase. In the Rangers, when chaos erupted, I didn't shout. I got calm, deadly calm. As you wish was what I said right before I executed a mission with surgical precision. Then I made 1 phone call. Leona Fisk speaking. Her voice was all business. It's Brody Harlow. I need you. Immediately. Brody? I thought you weren't back until next week. Plans changed, I said. Can you meet today? For you? Absolutely. My office. 2 hours. I hailed a cab, but I didn't go to the suburban home where my wife and kids, Trevor, 16, and Amelia, 14, supposedly didn't want me anymore. I went straight to the downtown Atlanta office of the most feared divorce attorney in the state. As the cab pulled away, I let myself have one single moment. I squeezed my eyes shut, and the betrayal washed over me like a tidal wave. Then I did what I'd done 1,000 times in combat. I compartmentalized. This wasn't my life falling apart anymore. This was a mission, and I never fail a mission. Leona Fisk's office was designed to intimidate. Gleaming surfaces, sharp edges. She matched her surroundings perfectly. Tailored suit, platinum hair in a severe bun, and eyes that size you up and calculated your net worth the second you walked in. So, she said, leaning back after I laid out the situation. She waited until you were literally on U.S. soil to drop the bomb. That's cold, even for me. I need to know what I'm up against. I told her. And then I need options. Her smile was all predator. What exactly did you mean when you texted as you wish? It means I'm going to respect her wishes to end our marriage, I said. But it's going to be on my terms. Good, she purred. You're not here to win her back. No, I confirmed. I'm here to win. For the next hour, we planned what Leona called the nuclear option. By the time I left, I had signed paperwork that would set off a series of legal and financial explosions at precisely 9 a.m. the next morning. After checking into a hotel, I made my second call to my oldest friend, Wyatt. We'd enlisted together. I need eyes on my house, man, I said, after giving him the short, ugly version. I need to know who's coming and going. You think there's someone else? He asked. It wasn't really a question. I need proof. I'm on it. And Brody, I'm sorry, brother. That night, my phone started blowing up. Melanie. I let it go to voicemail. Then the text started. Asterisk, what did you do? Answer your damn phone. Asterisk at 10:37 p.m., a message came in from Wyatt. It was a series of photos. A slick, midnight blue Audi in my driveway. A tall guy with an expensive haircut getting out. And then, Melanie, greeting him at the door. The final photo was them embracing. It wasn't a new, passionate kiss. It was the comfortable intimacy of a long-term thing. Wyatt's text followed. Asterisk, his name is Preston Hayes. Real estate developer. Been at your house 6 times in the last 2 weeks. Kids seem to know him. Asterisk, the pieces were falling into place. I set my phone down, and for the first time in days, I slept. Deeply. The sleep of a man who finally has a clear objective. The next morning, at 9:01 a.m., my phone erupted. It wasn't Melanie. It was her lawyer, a guy named Rutherford, and he was screaming, "You have no legal right to do that with her trust fund. 19 missed calls and you pull this? This is extortion." I hung up. I walked to the window and allowed myself a small, cold smile. Phase 1 was complete. See, Melanie came from a wealthy family. Her father had left her a massive trust fund with a lot of complex rules. One rule was that her spouse couldn't touch it. Another was that if she initiated a divorce, the funds would be frozen until she either remarried or turned 55. But what Melanie didn't know is that I'd spent years studying financial law as a hobby. My tactical brain loves to understand systems. And I found a loophole her father's fancy lawyers had missed, a clause about domicile abandonment. By texting me not to come home while I was returning from deployment, she'd legally abandoned our shared home. She had just triggered the clause herself. I hadn't touched a dime. I just legally frozen every single penny. At my next meeting with Leona, she slid a folder across the desk. "You were right," she said. "Preston Hayes isn't just some new fling. They dated back in law school, before you were even in the picture. They'd reconnected about 18 months ago, right after I left for my last tour. 18 months. While I was in hell, she was building a life with someone else. And my kids." I asked, my voice tight. Leona's expression softened, just a little. "Preston's been playing daddy. Trips, expensive gifts. Your son, Trevor, seems to be resisting it. His social media is angry at both of them. Your daughter, Amelia, seems more on board." My jaw tightened. "The house. No new mortgages. But the house next door to you? It was bought by one of Preston's shell companies 6 months ago. They're planning to combine the properties." It all clicked. This wasn't just an affair. It was a replacement, a complete hostile takeover of my life. They were literally planning to absorb my home. "They're efficient," I said, my voice cold as ice. "Most affairs are impulsive," Leona agreed. "This one was planned. A conspiracy." She continued. "The good news is they got sloppy. He transferred $200,000 to Melanie 3 months ago. She used it to redecorate your house. That's marital property she altered with her lover's money. It was good, but it wasn't enough. I need leverage," I told her. "Real leverage. For the kids. The courts usually favor the mother. The courts favor stability and safety," I corrected her. "Find me something that proves she can't provide either." As I was leaving, I got a text from Wyatt. "Asterisk got something big. Meet at the diner." Asterisk Wyatt was waiting in a back booth. He slid a small flash drive across the table. "Your wife and her boyfriend are planning more than just redecorating," he said, his voice grim. "They're planning to relocate. To Costa Rica. Property purchases, school inquiries for the kids, everything. When? Next month. The kids don't know yet. They were going to disappear. With my children. To another country." The coldness inside me hardened into something else. Something unbreakable. "I need one more thing," I told Wyatt. "I need to get into my house. Not for a confrontation. Just to get something that belongs to me." "When?" "They're at a charity gala tonight. Kids are at Hayes Lake House with his housekeeper." Wyatt studied my face. "Brody, whatever you're planning is necessary," I finished for him. "Are you with me?" His eyes met mine. The kind of look you only share with someone you've been to hell and back with. "Always," he said. "But remember who you are." My smile didn't reach my eyes. That's exactly what I'm counting on them forgetting. That night, I let myself into my own home. A key Melanie thought she'd made useless. Inside, everything was different. My comfortable leather couches were gone, replaced with cold, modern furniture. The family photos were gone, replaced with abstract art. It was like she was trying to erase me. In my office, behind a painting, was the wall safe. The combo was still Trevor's birthday. Inside was a box with my grandfather's war medals, my service documents, and one sealed envelope. I took only the envelope. On Melanie's desk, I saw them. Architectural plans. Detailed renderings of my house joined with the one next door, creating one massive estate. They were dated 14 months ago, just 4 months into my deployment. Before I left, I placed the key I'd use on the kitchen counter, right where she would find it. The next day, I hired a private investigator Wyatt recommended. "I need everything on Preston Hayes," I told him. all the way down to the bone. Then, I arranged to accidentally run into my son after his lacrosse practice. He stopped dead when he saw me. "Dad," his voice cracked. "Mom said, she said you weren't coming back." "I'm here, son." His face twisted with confusion and anger. "She said you abandoned us, that you chose the Rangers over us. Is that why you didn't want to see me?" I asked calmly. His head snapped up. "I never said that. She told us you wanted a clean break." The lies, they were breathtaking. We talked for half an hour. I never badmouthed his mother, but I made damn sure he knew the truth. As I was leaving, he called out, "Dad, are you just going to let him take everything?" I turned back, my expression unreadable. "No, son," I said. "I'm not." Later, the PI delivered his report. Preston Hayes was a predator. He targeted wealthy, married women whose husbands were often away. He'd become their friend, their confidant, their lover, and then he'd get them to invest their family money into his fraudulent real estate schemes. He's planning to isolate her, I realized out loud. Get her and her money to Costa Rica, where U.S. laws can't touch them. "There's one more thing," the PI said. "That envelope you got from your safe. What was in it?" "Insurance," I replied. It was an agreement I'd made with Melanie's father before he died. He knew his daughter. He'd promised me that if I signed a prenup, he'd set up a separate, protected trust for my military earnings. It was my parachute, and Melanie had no idea it existed. I called Leona. "Set up a meeting," I said, "with Melanie and her lawyer. Tomorrow. They're demanding you unfreeze the trust. Tell them I'm prepared to discuss terms. And if they refuse, they won't," I said. "Melanie has a timeline to keep." The conference room crackled with tension. Melanie sat across from me, her face a mask of contempt. "My client has exercised a legitimate legal option," Leona said coolly, shutting down their lawyer's blustering. "You weren't supposed to be back for another week," Melanie said, the first time she'd spoken to me directly. "Deployment schedules change," I said evenly. "But your plans were already in motion, weren't they?" I slid the folder across the table. The Costa Rica documents, the school applications, the flight inquiries. The color drained from her face. "You were planning to take my children out of the country without my consent," I stated. "That's called parental kidnapping. It's a vacation property." She snapped. "And you've been absent their whole lives anyway." "I was absent serving my country," I corrected her. "You chose Preston Hayes 14 months ago, when you drew up plans to tear down our home." The room went silent. "I'll unfreeze the trust," I said, "on 2 conditions. First, the kids stay here. Joint custody. Second, I want you to tell them the truth. That you lied. That I never abandoned them. And if I refuse," she challenged. I slid the second document across the table. The agreement with her father. Her face went white. "Dad would never. Your father respected sacrifice," I said. "And he knew his daughter. This was his insurance policy." She stared at it, defeated. "Fine," she spat. "But this doesn't change anything, Brody. I'm still divorcing you." "I wouldn't have it any other way," I replied. That night, an unexpected knock came at my hotel room door. It was my daughter, Amelia. Her face was tear-streaked but defiant. "Why didn't you fight for us?" she demanded. "You just disappeared. You didn't even try. I was told you didn't want to see me, sweetie. And you believe that?" Her voice broke. "After all the letters I sent? I waited for you to come home, and then nothing." I knelt down in front of her. "I'm fighting for you now," I said, my voice thick. "I promise you. Preston says you signed papers that you can't stop them from moving." "Preston," I said carefully, "doesn't know what's coming." Her eyes widened. "Are you going to hurt him?" "Not physically," I assured her. "But I'm going to stop him from taking what's mine." She nodded slowly. "Good," she whispered. "I hate him. Last week, he grabbed Trevor's arm. Hard. When they were arguing. It left marks. The cold, calculated rage I'd been controlling for weeks, it crystallized into something lethal. I made one final call to Leona. "Change of plans. We're accelerating the timeline," I said. "He crossed a line he can't uncross." The next morning, I walked into Preston Hayes' gleaming high-rise office. He was there with 2 lawyers and a smug smile. "Mr. Harlow," he said, extending a hand. "I appreciate your pragmatism." I ignored it. "Where's Melanie? She needs to be here." A moment later, the door opened. It was Leona, and she wasn't alone. "Apologies for the delay," she said briskly. Agent Donovan was held up in traffic. The man with her placed his credentials on the table. "Franklin Donovan, FBI, Financial Crimes Division." Preston's face went pale. "What is this?" "Insurance," I said. Just then, Melanie walked in, looking confused. "Preston? What's happening? Why is there an FBI agent here?" "Mrs. Harlow," Agent Donovan said, "we were just discussing your investment in the Costa Rica development." "Investment?" She looked at Preston. "It was a property purchase. Our retirement home." "There is no retirement home," I said gently. "The land you bought is an undeveloped parcel worth less than $100,000. Leona slid the real property records across the table. Melanie stared at them, then at Preston, her face crumbling. "Preston, tell me this isn't true." "We've been investigating Mr. Hayes for 18 months, Agent Donovan said flatly. "Your husband's evidence simply accelerated our timeline." Melanie's head snapped towards me. "You knew." "I suspected," I said. "So this was a trap." Preston spat. "No," I corrected him. "It was a trap for you. Melanie is just another one of your victims." "And what about Trevor?" Melanie whispered, her voice trembling. "What did you mean about assault?" I slid the photo of our son's bruised arm across the table. She stared at it, then at Preston, pure horror dawning in her eyes. The slap echoed in the silent room. "You lying bastard," she choked out. As FBI agents escorted a sputtering Preston Hayes out of the room, Melanie looked at me, completely broken. "Why?" she asked. "After everything I did, why would you save me?" "I didn't do this for you," I told her, my voice hard. "I did it for Trevor and Amelia. They've been through enough." 6 months later, the divorce was final. Preston was facing 8 years in federal prison. I had a new house, a new job as a security consultant, and most importantly, I had my kids. We were at Trevor's state lacrosse championship. I was standing on the sidelines when a woman came up to me, a college recruiter. Her name was Vanessa. We talked, we laughed. It was easy. Later that night, after I dropped the kids off, Melanie texted me. "Asterisk Trevor thinks the recruiter might be the one for you. Just a heads up, he's already planning your wedding." Asterisk, I actually laughed. "Thanks for the warning," I texted back. A moment later, her reply came. "Asterisk, you deserve to be happy, Brody." "I mean that." Asterisk, I stared at the message. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't reconciliation. But it was peace. It was the end of the war. The next morning, I picked up Vanessa's business card from my desk and tucked it into my wallet. The battle had been fought, decisively won, and for the first time in years, I was truly home. That's my story. It was a hell of a fight, and there were moments I wasn't sure how it would end. So I want to ask you, have you ever had to fight for something that everyone, including yourself, thought you had already lost? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious.